Welcome to OCR News Weekly. Today is Friday, June 23rd, 2017. I'm Margaret Schlachter, and thanks for joining me on this live broadcast. And for those of you listening on your favorite player, our recast of this week's episode. Today's headlines come from Europe, Tough Mudder, Spartan, and Ninja Warrior. We start the news from overseas this week. As reported last week about the tragic death of Hitte Lersch, the European obstacle racing community, especially the Dutch mudmen, came together over the weekend to honor Lersch at the OCR Series final in the Netherlands. Course marshals were all given roses and black armbands to honor her. A moment of silence was held at the beginning of the race in her memory, and her husband, Mike Helgers, ran in her honor with her bib number from the weekend before, alongside with family members. OCR Tube has a tribute to her from the OCR Series finale. We go to that now.
Vandaag was het hartverwarmend. Alle elite heb ik wel gezien vooraf en tijdens de race die mij inhaalden. En ik heb me ingehaald, allemaal een handje geven, allemaal een schouderklopje. Het was hartverwarmend wat ik vandaag heb meegemaakt. Ongelooflijk. Dus altijd zijn, dus samen met elkaar toch je eigen race doen. En dat deden Git en ik deden dat samen. Ook apart zijn bij de vrouwen ietsjes langzamer, ik bij de mannen ietsje sneller gelukkig. En zo hebben wij dat vandaag ook gedaan in de spirit van haar en in de spirit van de hele sport.
OCR Tube's full video is available on their Facebook page and YouTube, as well as we'll have that video on our website this afternoon to see the full recap of the OCR Series finale in the Netherlands over the weekend. Next, we move on to Tough Mudder. This week, Tough Mudder had a new sponsorship. Starting at Tough Mudder New England this weekend, racers will be handed a new beer at the finish line to celebrate their achievement. It was announced yesterday that Guinness Blonde American Lager will be the official beer partner of Tough Mudder for the U.S. races. The partnership is said to be for the rest of the 2017 season, according to the press release. Stay tuned to Mud Run Guide as we actually talk later on today with Tough Mudder HQ, and they're going to be releasing some of the top athletes that you should expect to see at the upcoming Tough Mudder X event later on here in July, set to be filmed for CBS and air on television later this summer. So stay tuned and check us out later. We'll have that video on Mud Run Guide later on today. Next, we move on to Spartan Race. Lots of news from Spartan Race this week. First, we start out with a new sponsor of the Spartan Race World Championships. Gators Eyewear has signed on as the official sponsor for Spartan Race and the Reebok Spartan Race World Championships. The eyewear company is also a sponsor of Reebok CrossFit Games. Spartan Vice President of Global Marketing had this to say about the partnership. Quote, "Gators make some of the most durable military-grade eyewear on the planet, which can stand up to the challenges competitors face along the grueling Spartan Race course. We are all about partnering with brands that share our values, passion, and love of grit, and we're excited to have Gators on board at our biggest event of the 2017 season." Additionally, this week, Spartan Race announced that registrations are open for the second Agogi, set to take place in China for those endurance junkies out there. So if you missed China the first time, you get a second chance at Agogi in China later on this year. As well, November 4th and 5th of this year, Spartan is heading back to its roots of the Spartan tradition with a trifecta weekend in Sparta, Greece. From the press release we got from Spartan Race on that, it said, "This weekend looks to attract competitors of all ages and skill sets with a 4 race types, including the 5 to 8 kilometer sprint, the 13 to 15 kilometer super and the 20 to 22 kilometer beast. The weekend is also set to feature a special endurance event reflecting the hurricane heat Spartan's grueling team event, which participants get a taste of the traditional Spartan agoge, a rite of passage boys entered at the age of 7 to begin their rigorous training. For more information on both those races, you can check out our website, mudrunguide.com, and get more details on how to sign up. Next, we're moving on to the ninja world. Last week, American Ninja Warrior Nation, announced that American Ninja Warrior had introduced new rules for Season 9 that is changing things up for the women's race. The first rule is that the top 5 women from each qualifier will move on to the city finals. The second rule change is the top 2 women from each city finals will advance to the national finals. And the third rule is there will be no wild cards awarded. Previously, women needed to rank in the top 30 competitors in the qualifiers and the top 15 competitors in the city finals to advance to the next round. The shift in rules mean that more women will have the chance to prove themselves on later courses. Comments have been mixed so far about the rule change. Check out our post that we had earlier on Facebook this week sharing the American Ninja Warrior announcement, as we had a lot of conversation over there, and you can feel free to add your own thoughts to that rule change. Next, we are moving on to results from this. Looking at some of the results from the past weekend in racing, we start out with Toughest Mudder, which made a stop in Whistler, Canada over the weekend. In the 8-hour overnight race, it was Ryan Atkins taking the win, with Robert Killian Jr. in second, Sean Stevens Whale in third. Over on the women's side, Lindsay Webster took the win for women, with Michelle Ford in second and Allison Ty rounding out the podium in third place. Moving to the United States, Savage Race was in Pennsylvania, with Yuri Force winning the race, Ben Kinsinger coming in second, and Jarrett Newby coming in third. Over on the women's side, it was Tiffany Palmer, followed by Gabrielle Ann Desi, and in third was Krista Dustman. Moving to Bone Frog Challenge, which made their stop in New Jersey, Grant Thadamus was in first place in the Tier 1, Scott Murdoch second, Peter Sherman third. Over on the women's side, there were 2 women that finished the Tier 1 event, and that is Chelsea Aronica, and in second place was Rachel Ivanskonden. Spartan Race is our next one. They made their stop outside of Boston, with Matthew Kempson first, Ryan Kempson second, and Victor Quesada came in third. Over on the women's side, it was Janet Berry in first, Cassandra Ullman in second, and Katie Huber in third. Next, we move outside of the U.S., where Toughest Series, the popular series, made a stop over in London, and it was no surprise. John Albin was on top of the podium yet again. No one seems to be able to beat him in a toughest event. Second place was David Nordstrom. Third place was Krister Selman. Over on the women's side, it was Karin Carlson coming in first. Annika Runegard Thompson in second, and Henrietta Albin rounding out the podium in third place. Finally, we end with the OCR Series finals that were in the Netherlands. In first place, it was Theopold de Boucheret, Thomas Daverdick, and Alexander Strujic. In first place for women, it was Susanna Kosimova. Second place was Lorena Gonzalez Mira, and in third place was Malgorzata Sugaria. Looking ahead to this weekend, Tough Mudder heads to New England, Rugged Maniac is in New York, Spartan Race is in Idaho, Minnesota, and Wisconsin. Conquer the Gauntlet is in Oklahoma. Indian Mud Run is in Ohio. Moving outside of the U.S., Spartan Race is in Toronto. 5K Foam Fest is also in Canada at Red Deer. And finally, Prison Break Race in Quebec. When we cross the pond, the United Kingdom is packed with events, and just to name a few, Total Warrior Challenge is in Leeds, the Gauntlet Games in Trent Park, London, and the Suffering is in the Midlands, just to name a few of the events. And we finish off talking about the events coming up this weekend with the Farm Run in Parma, Italy this weekend. For the full list of events, because there are too many to go over in this episode, head on over to mudrunguide.com. Go check out our calendar for this weekend, and I'm sure there's probably a race near you. So that's about it for this week in OCR and OCR News Weekly, powered by Mud Run Guide. Join us next week for all the news and results from around the industry. If you missed the live broadcast, you can find this episode on your favorite podcast players or on YouTube. So this is Margaret signing off for this week. Best of luck to those racing this weekend. Have a fun and muddy weekend. Bye-bye, everyone.